The village in it with a map and a plan. No place too tiny for this determined man. Crossing the counties one by one, you'll see in every English corner a bit of history.
Welcome back to Hambleton again, everybody. Now today we're in a village with a name which we've met twice before, once in Derbyshire and once elsewhere in Yorkshire, the East Riding of Yorkshire to be precise. Now this one has a lot less than those two places has, to be honest with you. In fact, I can only really find information about one particular landmark, but I will make sure to give it my all when I get to it. This is the very small village and parish of Catton. Catter's Farm. Hello folks, welcome to Hambleton again. Today we're deep in the heart of the Yorkshire countryside. We're in a place called Catton, and our visit here marks the third time we've seen a village with that name. Previously we were in the East Riding with the Catton near Stamford Bridge, and in Derbyshire with the Catton on the banks of the River Trent. In both of those cases we had lots to talk about. Here it's different. You could write all the information I found out about this particular flavour of Catton on the back of a postage stamp. It's situated between Thirsk and Ripon anyway, on the eastern bank of the River Swale. It's been part of the Hambleton district since 1974, although now of course it's part of the much larger North Yorkshire Unitary Authority. There are only a handful of houses, laid out primarily along one road. With the river to its west, the village is surrounded on three sides by open countryside. This really is one of those well out of the way, hidden villages that you likely would never know existed if you didn't have a map. It seems to have been that way for a fair few centuries. Very little is recorded about Catton or Catton Hall, which sits to the north of the village on the road to Skipton on Swale. There is one landmark which caught my eye though. In the middle of the village is a small former chapel. Again, little is known about it, but these days you can stay in it, if you so desired of course. Let's see how, as we take on another tiny hamlet deep in the Yorkshire countryside. Let's go! This is Catton Village, and it really is small. From one end to the other, you can walk through this place in under 10 minutes. It's rather like Clipston in Rushcliffe, which we saw a couple of weeks ago. It's similar too in how it's laid out. This is mostly all on one road, although there is a side street that leads down to the River Swale. In terms of housing, this southern end is dominated by a set of new builds that surround a small green. In the north, it's much older, generally speaking, with some large farmhouses to see. Catton's amenities are practically non-existent. There are no pubs, no schools, no shops, and no churches. Owning a car is vital if you live here, because there's not even a bus service. The only facility Catton has to its name is a small postbox. Well, this is an indicator of how small Catton is, because I'm about halfway already through the village. I can see the other end where I parked the car, believe it or not. There's not really much here. And there was only really one thing that caught my attention when I planned this route, and that was the building you can see there. That's an old chapel. Let's talk a bit about this. This is the Wayside Pulpit, a quaint old chapel which is now a detached cottage being used as an Airbnb. Book yourself in here and you could be spending time in its luxury hot tub spa, which is included in the price. It's also pet friendly because it features a temperature controlled dog wash. Although Catton itself might not be the biggest hub of activity, this is ideally placed for a short getaway. Remember, in this area you're only a few miles away from York and Thirsk, and the countryside offers a natural beauty of its own. It's got parking for 2 cars, plus for all you cycling enthusiasts out there, it can also boast a bike store located at the back of the property. Now of course, with any Airbnb there are rules to its use, but they're pretty self-explanatory. Its listing states that the building should not be used for partying and any music played should be kept low. That makes sense. Let's be honest, we're in the countryside here, where peace and quiet is valued more than anything else. I didn't find out any history about the building as a chapel. As to the date of construction, there were limited clues on the exterior walls, but I can make educated guesses these days. I'd say it was perhaps 1870s or earlier. Right next door to the chapel, you've got this lovely little green, but this is not a village green, it's a private green. And I imagine it once belonged to the chapel because it's called Chapel Garth. One of the chapel's selling points is the fact that you can enjoy several nice walks around here, and you most certainly can. If you take this road off to the left, you're heading down towards the River Swale. The Airbnb's listing describes it as a beautiful river walk. When you reach that point, you're practically at the end of the village. Now, I hope it hasn't been too obvious in terms of just how much I've struggled to write this script, but with virtually nothing to go on, this one was tough. Okay, with a place this small, you never really know if you're going to find a parish notice board or not. Well, Catton apparently does have one. I've just left a card in there, but the original shot of me doing so, I'm not going to show because the door sort of came off in my hand. The wood is rotten at this corner, so I don't really want to damage it anymore, to be honest with you. So, yeah. That's that. Catton is off the list at least. And just like that, we are through Catton Village. However, there is one more thing which we kind of sort of try to capture on the way out, and that's Catton Hall. Now, I couldn't find much about this, to be honest with you, because it's very scarce online for anything to do with Catton. But we'll take a drive up there now. We'll just basically follow this road, and it'll take a left turn, and Catton Hall is sort of off to the right up a track, and we'll see if we can see it. I'm not totally convinced we're going to be honest. North of the village, Catton Hall is set back from the road to Skipton on Swale. Little is known about this too, but it's one of, if not the, largest property in Catton. Aside from it, the chapel and the other houses, the only other buildings in this one are farm related, and most are off limits to the average Joe like me. Catton Hall though is known for a business, Catton Kitchen, which is run by just two people, Hugo and Amy. Catton Kitchen is a market garden which has a takeaway shack and delivers fresh, seasonal veg throughout the year. All of their produce is grown and picked by hand at 6 AM every morning after being grown in a polytunnel or outside beds. They grow a wide range of salad, leafy greens and seasonal crops where taste, aesthetics and freshness is key. With not much more to see or speak of, I opted to hit the road. Join me tomorrow for another Hambleton village, and this time we'll have a lot more to get our teeth into. During the war, this part of Hambleton saw a lot of aircraft activity, and I'm going to show you why. See you later. Now, just before I go, remember, this video is part of a huge project to visit every civil parish in England. That's more than 10,000. These routes are pre-planned, and due to time constraints, I can't cover every detail or walk down every street. Please don't complain if this video missed something out. I pronounce names how I choose to. I am very aware that local dialect may vary, and I don't take kindly to criticism about this. You've been warned. It's impossible to know everything too. If this video was terrible, make your own. If you're a regular watcher of The Village Idiot, you're not the only one. If you've got a small business, why not use my videos to advertise it? Leave a comment below if you're interested. And finally, thanks for watching this episode, everybody. Give us a like and a subscribe if you've enjoyed this episode, and share it with your friends and relatives. It all helps to keep this mission going. Until next time, I've been Andy, also known as The Village Idiot, and I'm out.